Let me share the high dividend stock that I'm buying more this June and why I'm buying it in Gotrade, the new stock trading app that's called the Robinhood for the world or the Robinhood for non-US citizens. Now, this stock gives a very high dividend of 7% annually, but it pays out monthly dividends. So it's perfect as part of a retirement portfolio. So if you're like me, who wants to see monthly passive income, then this stock could be right for you. But before we get into that, if you're new here, welcome to the Dealmaker channel, where we talk about investing in multiple asset classes such as stocks and real estate. Now, this video is not sponsored, so you might want to support me by hitting the like button because that helps the channel grow, and I really highly appreciate it. Thank you very much for hitting that like button. And if you're feeling more generous and want to support me directly in making more high value videos, please buy me a coffee for only $5. So I won't be drinking the coffee, but I will use the funds to subscribe to premium stock investing subscriptions such as the Motley Fool and Seeking Alpha. So please help me make more valuable videos by going to buymeacoffee.com/dealmaker. Links in the description below. With that out of the way, let's get started. The company I'm buying is AGNC, so Alpha Golf Nancy Charlie. AGNC Investment Corp, ticker symbol AGNC. It's a mortgage REIT, so it's still a REIT or a real estate investment trust, but instead of properties, it owns mortgages. So what do I mean? Well, let's look at their website to find out more. So we're here on the AGNC website. So again, AGNC is an internally managed mortgage real estate investment trust. So I already mentioned that earlier. We invest predominantly in agency mortgage-backed securities or agency MBS on a leverage basis, financed primarily through collateralized borrowing structured as repurchase agreements. So there is a lot of jargon there. So if there is one thing that is probably working against AGNC is that they use a lot of this financial jargon. So let's see if we can demystify some of that or simplify some of those terms. So let's start with agency MBS. So agency MBS, these are mortgage-backed securities issued by a government-sponsored enterprise such as the Federal National Mortgage Association, or Fannie Mae, or Freddie Mac, or a U.S. government agency such as the Government National Mortgage Association, or Ginnie Mae. So with respect to which the principal and interest payments are guaranteed by the issuing entity. So let's start with mortgage-backed securities. You can think of them as like a pool of loans. So let's just say 1,000 people took out mortgages with Ginnie Mae. Those 1,000 mortgages will be packaged together and then sold to interested investors such as AGNC Investment Corp. So AGNC buys this pool, its entire pool of 1,000 or maybe 10,000 or even more. Now, this pool of mortgages that gives interest. So that's how AGNC makes money. They make money from the interest of these mortgage-backed securities. Now, the good thing is because they only buy agency MBS or they buy mostly agency MBS, then the principal and the interest payments are guaranteed by these government agencies, so guaranteed by the US government. So that lowers the credit risk. So I hope you understand what an agency MBS is. So next, let's go through finance primarily through collateralized borrowings structured as repurchase agreements. So what are repurchase agreements? It's a type of secured loan. So they take out loans to buy agency MBS. Okay, so that's how they leverage. That's what they mean by they buy agency MBS on a leverage basis. So they have cash, so they have money, but they expand that. Now they buy more through repurchase agreements. So this is a type of secured loan, typically short term. So under repurchase agreement transaction, one party sells a security to another party at a specified price and simultaneously agrees to buy back that same asset at a future date at a predetermined higher price, with the difference between the two prices effectively constituting the interest associated with the loan. There's a lot to process there. Maybe it's better if we look at an example. For example, AGNC has $10 million in agency MBS. So in a repurchase agreement, they sell that. So they sell that 10 million. So they'll get 10 million in cash. And they can use that 10 million in cash to buy more agency MBS. And then they buy it back. So the 10 million agency MBS that they sold, they buy it back in 28 days, for example, for 10.01 million. So that 0.1 million, that is now the interest rate that AGNC pays to whoever bought the agency MBS in the first place. So that is an example of a repurchase agreement, and that is how AGNC uses leverage to buy more agency MBS or any other instrument that they might need in their operations. So going back here, our principal investment objective is to provide our stockholders with attractive risk-adjusted returns through a combination of monthly dividends and net asset value accretion. So it's really their objective or their target to give out monthly dividends, and that is the primary reason why I'm looking at AGNC. Now, for me, secondary is the net asset value accretion, or the growth in net asset value. We'll look at that a little bit later. So let's look at their financial performance to see if they can support giving out monthly dividends. So in their recent earnings call, so they made a net income of $1.33 per share, and they were able to increase the book value, or the value of their assets, or the total value of their portfolio. They were able to increase that by $1.01 per share. So from $16.71 in December, they were able to bring that up to $17.72 by the end of March. And they were able to declare a dividend of 36 cents for Q1. So that translates to 12 cents per month. So as you can see here, their income, they're earning $1.33, and they're just giving out 36 cents in dividends. So the monthly dividend can be supported by AGNC. So they've been able to manage their portfolio well to be able to give out monthly dividends. And what they were especially proud of is the fact that they were able to give 8.2% total economic return for their shareholders for the first quarter of 2021. So the dividends, which is 36 cents, plus the book value increase of $1.01, is the total economic return. Personally, I like AGNC because of the high yield, that 7.43%. They also pay out their dividends monthly. So I like to get monthly passive income because I'll be able to reinvest that income and make it compound faster. It's also a relatively low-risk business because, like we mentioned earlier, the pool of mortgages that they buy are guaranteed by US government agencies. So it's relatively low risk, but it's not zero risk. They also have risks to their business, which we will cover later. But overall, I like the high yield, I like the monthly payout, and I like that they are involved in a relatively low risk business. So my initial goal with AGNC is to make $1 per month from this particular investment. And how do we do that? Since AGNC pays out 12 cents per month in dividends, then that means I need to buy 8.33 shares. Last night, the price of AGNC is $18.70 or $18.7 per share. Of course, this is just the beginning. Earning $1 per month is just the beginning. It's too small to really matter. But what I like about it is with Gotrade, now I can use those dividends to buy more shares, either of agency or other stocks. So even if I am not able to put in money, so of course, my personal commitment is to regularly put in money to this particular account. So, but if things happen and I'm not able to do that, then still I'll be able to buy more shares from the dividends of agency. Now, what I want to do is I want to build out the portfolio to buy more dividend paying stocks. Ideally, if we can find more monthly dividend paying stocks, then that would be great. But of course, there are more companies that pay on a quarterly basis or even semi-annual basis. Then also, I want to balance out the portfolio by buying ETFs and other growth stocks. But my primary goal for my GoTrade account is to make it generate monthly passive income so that I can compound that passive income and make the portfolio continuously grow using GoTrade's feature of $1 in minimum transaction cost. So that's what I really love about GoTrade because it allows buying shares at a minimum of $1. We can use this strategy of buying dividend paying stocks and then using those dividends to buy more stocks. So even if you only have a small fund, then you can already start earning passive income from GoTrade. But I don't recommend that you put everything into AGNC because like I mentioned earlier, just like any business, AGNC has risks. One of the important risks that agency needs to manage is interest rate risk. So I mentioned earlier that they buy agency MBS using repurchase agreements. If interest rates increase, that will increase the cost of their borrowing or the cost of their loan. That will squeeze their net income. So it's very important that they monitor interest rates and that they apply measures to control these interest rate increases. And that's what they've done. They have hedging instruments. The company recognizes this risk and that they're taking measures to at least mitigate it or to at least control it. Another risk that AGNC has is they can actually lose equity. They can lose book value. So earlier they showed that their book value increased, but they can actually lose book value. Let me show you their historical performance. So here is a chart of AGNC's all-time stock price. So as this starts from 2009 all the way to the present. As you can see, agency suffered a steep drop in equity value starting in 2013. So they experienced these steep drops whenever interest rates jumped significantly. They also suffered that during the pandemic last year, but ever since last year they've been growing steadily and they are now near or even above pre-pandemic levels. Now my hope is that they have learned their lesson in these two past interest rate squeezes. That now they have a more reliable way of growing asset values. So we can still expect that there will be dips in prices, but I would look at those dips as opportunities to buy or accumulate more AGNC shares. All right, so congratulations for reaching all the way to this part. That was quite a technical discussion on AGNC. AGNC is quite complicated as a company, but I hope I was able to simplify it and that I was able to at least explain it to you, in an easy to understand way. And I hope I was able to either give you enough information so that you can decide whether you're like me, you want to buy AGNC and you want to buy the high yield and the monthly dividends, or at least I was able to give you enough information to say, hey, Ronald, I am not buying agency. I'm going to pass for that. But please give me more stock market investing ideas. And that's what I will do in my next video. But before we get into that, please let me know in the comment section below, will you be buying AGNC or not? Please tell me why or why not in the comment section below. Also, let me know if there are stocks that you'd like me to discuss, no, you'd like me to analyze so that you can make a better decision. So that's one of the things that I'd like this channel to be of service to you guys. I'd like to do these kinds of deep dives or due diligence on these stocks so that you can make better decisions. Up next, I will be discussing 5 stocks that you might want to buy in addition to AGNC or instead of AGNC. So these 5 stocks are a mix of stocks, with different characteristics. Some of them will be dividend stocks, some of them will be growth stocks, but you can use these 5 stocks to jumpstart your US stock market portfolio. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Dealmaker channel. If you have not yet done so, make sure to hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I release new videos. So check out the free stock market investing course that I have right here, or check out one of my stock analysis videos right here if you want more stock investing ideas. Always remember, it's always a great day to make deals, and may all of your deals push through. See you in the next video.